never underestimate the power and influence you have over a youth wrestler. You have a person there that's going to be a sponge and listen to the things that you say, and they may repeat them or they may use those pearls that you give them many years from now. You know, aside from my parents and my grandparents, the most influential person in my life was my youth wrestling coach, John Ceruto. I still remember today, just like it was yesterday. I remember when he told me, take that mat like it's yours. And I still do that today when I walk into an operating room. I take that operating room and walk in it like it's mine. This is a critical thing that you need to know, that the positive comments that you push out, that the ways you help these kids get through adversity, that the way you help these kids adapt and overcome, they're going to use down the road. I was out at dinner last night, and a woman came up to me, and she told me that I coached her son 7 years ago. He's now a freshman at Dartmouth. He's not wrestling, but he's boxing. But all the lessons that he learned at Paws, he uses today, and he has achieved personal excellence because of Paws Wrestling. That's the greatest trophy in the world as a coach. It's a wonderful feeling. We try to emphasize to our kids that the mental toughness that you learn in wrestling can be applied to any of the sports you participate in, whether it's a full count in the batter's box, or whether it's a really tight situation in a football game, or whether it's in an operating room like what I do. The mental toughness that you learn, the adaptability and the focus can be transferred from wrestling onto anything that you do. And you know what? These kids get it. It was wonderful. I saw my wrestlers from years ago competing in the county tournament 2 weeks ago. We had 20 kids on 5 different teams coming from one club, our club, and they had a fantastic tournament. And you could see them maturing, and you could see these little building blocks that we put in place that they've built on top of, but they have a wonderful foundation of mental toughness, adaptability, and focus. One of the most effective techniques we've had in ingraining a championship attitude is in talking about 3 statements or 4 statements that we talk about every single day at the end of practice. Who holds you down? Nobody! Who owns the third period? We do! What are we on our feet? Relentless! What's our favorite period? Overtime! That is hammered into these kids every single day. They love cheering it, and the longer they say it, the more they believe it. It works. It really works. I think one of the main reasons we've had a lot of success with recruitment and retention in our program is the kids really feel like we care about them. We know the kids' names. I walk around and shake every one of the kids' hands every day at practice when I'm here. And I make sure that I know their name. And if I don't know their name, I'll do 10 push-ups because I got to know their name. That's part of my job. And they know that I care. I try to talk to them about what's going on at school, how their grades are, what they're looking for in terms of a big team game or a professional game coming up, and tease them a little bit about their team or my team. But they need to know that you care about them, and that you care about them not just in the practice room, but afterwards. Any kid that gives me their grades, and they're good grades, I write them a note. I make sure that that note gets mailed to their house, so they get a separate note from me. Sometimes kids get a phone call. If they've been hurt, we got an injured kid, we send them a little package, a little inspirational movie or a little note that says, hey, listen, this can be an opportunity for you. You need to look at every event that you have in your life as an opportunity, either to get better or to focus on the negative aspects. Don't focus on the negative aspects. This is an opportunity for you to think about wrestling, for you to desire it more, and for you to come back with more fire and more desire in the future. You know, another reward that we do, particularly when we're trying to promote a particular move, say we've taught a move on Tuesday and Thursday and we want to see that move in action on the Saturday match, is we'll call it the milkshake move. And what I mean by that is I will print up little certificates with a picture of a milkshake. And I'll tell the kids on Saturday, hey, listen, if I see somebody doing a perfect front headlock or a perfect switch or a perfect double leg takedown, you will win the Milkshake Move Award. And what we'll do is I'll give them out to our coaches, and if they see a perfectly executed move that we taught and that we designated as the Milkshake Move, the kid gets the certificate and it's redeemed on Tuesday at the end of practice. And I bring Thomas Sweet milkshakes to whoever got that move. So we got the local ice cream store involved, and we got the kids involved, and it's a lot of fun. The kids love it. It's really a lot of fun for us as well as the kids, is we try to find nicknames for them. Nicknames that they like, nicknames that are catchy, nicknames that are memorable. I use some professional wrestlers' names. I use some old names from old shows. I use sports figures. Whatever catches their name in their eye, it's really fun to do. I've got Mini Ditka, Mankind, the Dominator, the Enforcer, the Intimidator, and the kids love it. They just eat it up. And when we do our practice newsletter, we make sure that we use the nickname as well as their name so that they can get recognized and they can have their name attached with their nickname. It's really a lot of fun. Sometimes, when I don't think I'm getting my best effort out of the kids, I'll make a big announcement. I'll take $1 out of my pocket, or I'll take like a piece of licorice, and I'll say, the best wrestler in this room is going to get this prize at the end of practice. Whatever it is, we're going to do spinning, we're going to do sprints, whatever it is, whoever gives the best effort is going to get this prize. You wouldn't believe how the kids go wild for a single buck or a single piece of candy. It's hilarious, and the kids have a great time doing it. And what you see is you get a lot more out of your kids. When we choose our captains at the end of the year for the following year. I make sure that they get special mailings from me, inspirational coaching chapters, inspirational quotes. I'll send them little packages so that they start getting ready to lead the team. I tell them it's a very important and prestigious spot. And the way we pick captains is basically we pick the kids who at any time during a practice, anytime, you can point to that one kid and you can say, do what this guy's doing right here. That's how we choose our captains. And I tell our captains it's a very important position that they've been given, and they have responsibilities. It's important to make sure that they see the kids on the team and make sure that the kids are having fun as well. I empower our captains. We'll meet with them, and sometimes we'll ask them some input on how we run practice, what moves we should do. And I'll also pose that to the kids someday. Because you may have 5 moves that you need to teach on your list. But sometimes it's good to ask the kids, what do you guys want to do today? You want to do takedowns? You want to do pinning combinations? Or do you want to do escapes? And you know in your mind what moves you want to teach. But if you give them a little bit of a choice, they're going to have a lot more fun in doing it. They say, Coach, we want to do escapes today. And that's a great way to get them engaged, get them involved, and get them doing the moves they want to do that day, which makes practice go a lot more smoothly and makes practice more enjoyable. Another technique that we use that I've found very, very helpful is that particularly on tournament days. Kids are tense on tournament days, and usually coaches are too. I try to have a little coaches meeting and tell them, listen, these guys are tense enough. I want you coming in there confident and relaxed and maybe even horsing around or joking around a little bit, because it lightens it up and it gets these kids to realize that this is what we've trained for. This is the fun part of wrestling. We got to make that fun. Tournaments should be enjoyable. Yeah, there's stress involved and you want to perform your best. But as a coach, you need to project confidence and you need to project that, hey, this is the fun day. This is the day we get to try out all the stuff we've worked on. This is the day we get to do the move that we've done 100 or 200 times. Now we're going to showcase it. That's what you need to project to your kids. Every once in a while, you got to mix practice up. I mean, kids get bored, and coaches do too. So what we try to do sometimes is do what's called an upside down practice. And that's where we do literally everything in reverse. We start with sprints, and then we go backwards into live wrestling, then we go into drilling, then we go back into stretching, and then we finish with a light run. And you know what? The kids love it. It's a great change of pace. The coaches enjoy it, and it breaks up the monotony of the season. These kids, you know, they may not always have a winning record, or they may not have a record that they had better than last year's. So you need to give them concrete ways of measuring their success. And one of the best ways is our strength contest. Every month, we check our kids in push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and long jump. We track their progress, and we post it so the kids can see how they're doing. And the ones that get rewarded, not the ones that have done the most, the ones that have improved the most. It's a great way to give your kids a pat on the back and let them see the progress that they have. One of the things we try to do to prevent kids from having a lot of failures, particularly in the practice room, is we pay a lot of attention to what the matchups are. It's really important that you have the appropriate weight matchup and skill matchup. Sometimes I'll go around and I'll actually start pulling the bigger kid over so the little kid can get on top of him. Or the one kid who's not having a lot of success gets a reversal or gets a takedown. And the more talented wrestler kind of complains a little bit, but the other one gets a little victory on that. And you know what? Everybody laughs about it, and it's a lot of fun, and you make sure that these other kids get some successes. When a kid's having a bad day, it's really important that you identify that, and you spend a little extra time with them after practice. And you say to them, listen, you know, everybody has bad days, you know. Every great athlete has bad days. Every famous person has bad days. You need to focus on the slow building blocks that you are making progress, okay? You may not always be able to take your opponent down, but you shot a better double leg takedown than you did last week. That's the kind of progress we want to see. You did 1 pull-up when you started the season, you're doing 5 pull-ups now. Look at that difference. That's a 500% improvement. That's what you guys need to focus on. It's very important that you keep an eye out for those kids, because they're the kids on the margin. They're the kids that may not show up for practice the next week. You need to show them that you care. Sometimes it's even a phone call the next day to just say, hey, Johnny, I just called to check on you. I know you had a tough practice. Looking forward to seeing you on Thursday. One of the most enjoyable endeavors that we do is our end of the season ceremony for our wrestlers. We make a big deal out of it. Our last practice, we line all of the kids up by age so that our 8th graders are at the end of the line and our youngest are at the front of the line. And every one of our coaches will walk down the line and shake each and every one of those wrestlers and make a comment about their season. I try to get my coaches prepped for that, and I try to get them to think about one event or one move that each of these kids did, so a special thing can be said to each child. As we move along, we shake hands with everybody, we talk to them about what a great season it was, and at the end, what we do is we carry out the 8th graders out of the wrestling room, and they love it. We also celebrate with a team banquet, and that takes a lot of preparation. We talk about all of our 8th graders. We make sure that we talk about their record, their accolades, and where they grew as a wrestler and as a person for that season. I also make it a point to make sure that everybody knows where those people are moving on to, and to tell them that their coaches, all of us at Paws, are in their corner coaching them all times of their life and all times of adversity and in all times of successes. We're always there for them, and we're always available. I want our kids to know that we're going to be with them for the rest of their lives. It's great to get your kids outside of the wrestling practice room to other activities as well. We, as a team, try to attend the Princeton University wrestling matches, and that's a lot of fun because we're all in the stands, and I can point out a move to the kids and say, look, you see that front headlock? It's the same move I taught you in practice, right? So it's great for these kids to see that. We also do a club picnic in the summertime just before kids go off to summer camp or take a break, and we hand out our summer assignments in terms of what they need to do for strength and conditioning. It's another venue to really connect with the kids. We play volleyball, have a cookout. It's a good time. Planning these events really seals the glue that you're putting into this program so that these kids come back year and year and year. I always tell my kids that wrestlers are part of man's oldest and greatest fraternity. Because when you step across that line, and you go from the sideline into the center of the mat, you experience something that very few athletes experience. And that is you yourself, alone out there to perform. It's a great thing for kids to learn how to do that. And it gives you great personal strength. And I truly believe that wrestling is man's oldest and greatest fraternity. We want to hear from you. So I would suggest that if you have something that's been really successful for you, let's hear it. Contact the National Wrestling Coaches Association and let them know what you are doing in your practice to recruit and retain wrestlers, because that is the lifeblood of our sport. Thank you. You ready? I just have a couple of questions to ask you guys. Hey, who holds you down?
Nobody!
Are we on our feet?
Right.
Who owns the third period?